Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurume Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir me sada Purave sarvalokanam Vishale bhavaroginam Nidhaye sarvavidyanam Dakshinamurtaye namaha Ishvaro Gururatmeti Viveda Vibhagine Vyomavatyaptadevaya Dakshinamurtaye namaha Sada Shiva Sabharambham Shankararadam Shankaram Lokashankaram Sakshat Kritam Dayanandam Paramarthasvarupinam Tattvajnana Prashastaram Pranatosmi Param Padam Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryan Karavavahe Tejasvinavadhitamastu Vidvishavahe Om Shanti 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 78th class. Again, repeat. Vasudevendra Yogindram Atva Jnanapradam Gurum
Vasudevendra Yogindram Natva Jnanapradam Gurum
Mumukshunam Hitarthaya Tattvabodho Vidhiyate
Mumukshunam Hitarthaya Tattvabodho Vidhiyate.
Atma Tarhi Kaha
Atma Tarhi Kaha
Satchidananda Swarupaha
Satchidananda Swarupaha
Sat Kim
Sat Kim
Alatraye Pitishtate Iti Sat
Kalatrayepi tishtati iti sat
Chit Kim
Chit Kim
Jnanasvarupaha
Jnanasvarupaha
Andaha Kaha
Anandaha Kaha
Sukhasvarupaha
Sukha
Evam Satchidananda Swarupam
Evam Satchidananda Swarupam
Svatmanam Vijaniyat
Swatmanam Vijaniyat
iti Stola Sukshma Karana Sharirat Vitiriktaha Sakshi. Then Satchidananda Swarupaha San Jagat Tishtati Saha Atma. The definition, as we saw before, presents Atma in two ways. One is Atma, that which is not Atma, and finally that which is Atma. Neti neti, then finally iti. What is iti? Sat, chit, anandaha, ananda swarupaha, Atma iti. The three words are new to the student, the disciple. So therefore he is asking Sat kim, Chit kim iti. And we have seen elaborately what is Sat, what is Chit, also we have seen. We are going to see, continue further. Then we will see Anandaha iti. The three words are important. The three words are the Lakshana. They present the Lakshana of Atma. Lakshanam is different, Visheshanam is different. Visheshana means adjective. In fact, everything in the world, every knowledge in the world, what we gain through our sense organs, it is nothing but this knowledge, adjective knowledge. In the sense, a flower is there, a lotus flower is there, a lily is there. A lotus, both are flowers, but there is an adjective. This is lotus, a particular jati, a particular type, lotus, and this is lily. Among the lily itself, there are classifications. Many lilies are there, blue lily, white lily. So this is blue lily. So you see the flower lily, you recognize it as different from white lily because this is blue in color. So what is the knowledge here? The blue knowledge. Blue is an adjective. If you analyze lily, what is the lily? Lily, the flower is, it is a integral. It is an integral whole. It has got many parts. Petals are there, stem is there, lot of other the parts are there, and the parts have got subparts. So therefore, where is the lily? Really speaking, lily as a particular thing is not there. Everything put together becomes a lily. Everything put together becomes a lily. But what is that which sustains this everything? There must be an adhara. There must be an adhara, an adhisthana, which sustains the integral, the whole assemblage, the lily. Similarly, the same thing with regard to the body also. What is that which sustains this integral body? When you say body, what is body? The hand is a body, or the leg is a body, or chest is a body, or head is a body, or the trunk is a body. If trunk is a body without head, it is not body. We call it as a mundam. So everything put together becomes a body. Separately, they are not body. Doesn't make a body. Individually cannot make a body, but put together becomes a body. This is wonder. This is mithya. Individually, they are not called body. Individual parts of the lily is not called lily. When put together, it becomes a lily. When put together, this becomes a body. But there must be something which sustains the whole assemblage. For that only all these are Visheshana. These are all superimposed adjectives on that. That doesn't change, that remaining what it is. On that, all these are kalpitam. That is what we saw, it is sat. That doesn't change. Whereas the parts are subject to change. The anga, the limbs are subject to change. The limbs change. That is why it is anityaha. Anityatvat, it is mithya. It doesn't exist on its own, being the parts. Being the parts, they are subject to change. They are subject to destruction. They are not permanent. That impermanent is sustained by a permanent thing. Anityana mityaha. Kathopanishad, we saw yesterday. Anityanam nityaha. Adriveshu dhruvaha. That is sat. That is the sat that doesn't undergo any change. Kalatrayepi tishtati sarvada iti. Sat part we discussed. Now the next part is chit. Chit also we discussed. What is chit? It is awareness. Awareness or consciousness. The word consciousness, as I said, to be understood properly, the content of a sentient being is called consciousness. The content of the sentient being, that is called awareness. The awarer is there. A conscious being is there. What is the content of it? This consciousness, this awareness. This consciousness, it is self-illumining and self-evident, about which we started discussing, I think, in the last class. It is self-illumining and self-evident. What does it mean? That is, to know an object, the knower has to be there. When you see an object, the seer is involved, the object is involved, and the seeing is involved. Through seeing, through the visual perception, the knowledge takes place. For knowledge to take place, three things are required: the knower, the jnata, the known, jneyam, jneya vishaya, and the jnana. This is called Triputi Veda. So anything, any object is there, anything in the world which you can observe through your sense organs, which are the basic pramanam, the fundamental means of knowledge by which you gain knowledge, involves this knower, known, and the knower, known, and the knowledge. Now, without the knower, the knowledge cannot take place. Without the known, the knowledge cannot take place. If you analyze the nature of the known, that is what we saw. The nature of the known is Sat. The nature of a known object, when you analyze an object, it reduces to Sat, pure existence. On that existence only, all this Nama, Rupa, etc. are kalpitam. Like in the example, pot example, we saw pot is. If you remove the pot, clay is. If you remove the clay powder is, or clay powders, or RR is whatever it may be. If you remove the clay powder, molecules are, remove the molecules, go further, atoms. Atom is, go further, subparticles is. So isness goes, that isness is never destroyed. And that isness alone sustains all the superimpositions, all the kalpita, namarupas which are kalpita on that, it is sustained by that existence. So with regard to a known object, The object has got this sat, and that sat only this nama rupa or kalpitam. So object is there. And you, the Chetana, the conscious being, for you, that object becomes the object. What I mean here is that Nama Rupa, the name and the form of a thing or object, it comes to your knowledge for you, the conscious being. When you operate the sense organs, it becomes the object of your knowledge. Generally, we ignore Sat. We go by the Nama Rupa, carried over by the Nama Rupa. That is what samsara is. When your indriyas, because indriyas can capture only Nama Rupa. It cannot capture the Sat part of the thing. Sat is not a part. Part, I mean, it cannot recognize Sat. Atma it cannot recognize because indriyas are not made for that. Indriyas are made only to observe the Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha, the 5 properties of an object. So what the Indriyas observe is only the properties of the object. Properties means adjectives of the object. That is how I started the class in the beginning. So what we really know is nothing but the adjectives, the Visheshana of a thing. We cannot really know a thing as it is. What is the nature of the real nature of a thing, object? It is your existence. So that the Indriyas cannot know. Why? If you analyze the Indriya, that is also an assemblage only put together. Indriyas also is a karya, it's a product. Karyatvat. Therefore, there must be a karanam. Why it is karyam, I say? Because Stula Shariram is the karya with regard to the Sukshma Shariram. From the Sukshma Shariram, Stula Shariram is born. And Sukshma Shariram is born from the Karana Shariram. So, in the Sukshma Shariram only all the Indriyas are there. Saptadasha Kalabhihi Saha Yagattishtati Visa Yattat Sukshma Shariram. Therefore, Sukshma Shariram is also a product, Karya. Karyatvat, therefore, it is also an assemblage only. Therefore, being an assemblage, it is also Mithya. The content, if you analyze, it is the content of the person who operates the Indriyas is Chit, the awareness. Minus that, no knowledge can take place. Therefore, the conscious being, the sensuous being, whose content is consciousness, in the presence of which the knowledge of an object takes place. What knowledge? The knowledge of an object means the properties, the Nama Rupa, that knowledge. With Indriya, only that knowledge is possible. Now we are analyzing the content of this conscious being. So, with the available means of knowledge, therefore, we can know the Nama Rupa, that is called the properties of an object. Now, consciousness being not a property, it is not the property of you. It is the content of you, the conscious being. How are you going to know it? Can you know it by your sense organs? You cannot. Because for sense organs also are created. It's also born. It is a karya, it's a product. Therefore, there must be karana. The ultimate karanam is this Atma. This Atma is the karanam and everything is the karya. So with the Karya, how can you know the Karana Atma? Not possible. Trying to know the Karanam with the Karya is like a son asking the parents why you didn't invite for your marriage. It's like that. So therefore, there is no way of objectifying you, the consciousness, the awareness, because you are not you are not one more object of the world to be objectified, to be known. Remember how the knowledge of an object takes place. The knowledge of the object takes place in the form of vritti, in the form of thoughts. First, the thoughts envelop the object which is in front. The thoughts envelop the object, and it is pervaded by the consciousness in your mind. Then the knowledge takes place. This is how knowledge takes place. So the thought envelops the object, and it is pervaded by the consciousness, the awareness. Then the knowledge of the object takes place. When you open your eyes, the thoughts go and pervade the object. If there is a flower, lotus flower, you open your eyes, through the eyes, the mind goes out, pervade the lotus, and the lotus is illumined by consciousness. Consciousness means you, the awareness. Then the knowledge of the lotus takes place in your mind. This two, we present as though it is a two process, but it is actually only immediately takes place. Therefore, you cannot see as though it's a two process. It can be experienced as two. It is when you open your eyes, you see the lotus. The knowledge of the lotus flower takes place. The two things are there. It's presented as two steps. First step is your mind goes out and pervade the object, and mind is pervaded. If you are awake, the mind is pervaded by the consciousness. The knowledge takes place. So therefore, the knowledge is by creating the vritti in the mind. And the vritti, all the thoughts are illumined. All the thoughts are illumined by the consciousness. Therefore, knowledge takes place. Now, when I sit and meditate, one thought comes, the thought is illumined. That goes away. Next thought comes. Every thought is illumined. You know what a thought comes and what thought goes away. You know it. How do you know that thought? This thought is there because it is illumined by you, the consciousness. Therefore, you know it. Every knowledge is through Jnanam only. Now, the consciousness, the awareness, that is you. How are you going to know by the same thing, by this Vritti Jnanam? You not being an object. How the mind pervade you? You are the Karanam even for the mind. You being the Karanam, even for the mind, how can the mind, the Karya, can pervade the Karanam? Not possible. Mind can pervade through sense organs any external objects. That's why they are called objects. Objectifiable, that is why they are called objects. But consciousness is not an object. In the presence of consciousness only, all the knowledges, object knowledge takes place. An object is recognized as an object because the subject you is there. Minus subject, where is object? Now, in the same way as you recognize an object, if you want to recognize you, that is not possible by operating your sense organs or by trying to know with your mind. That is why we say, Yato vacho nivartante aprabhya manasa saha. Words cannot objectify, mind cannot objectify, they return back, failing to know it. You cannot know yourself through mind because it is you or not an object, one more object. So the vritti, the mind cannot pervade you. That is not possible. That is not possible. The mind being pervaded by you, the consciousness, how the thoughts of the mind can pervade you. So therefore, it is not possible to know. At the same time, this consciousness is always evident. You need not know, it is always evident. Like the sun wants to know itself. What light is required for the sun to know itself? The sun doesn't require any light. Sun, in the presence of sun, every object is illumined. That illumination is not deliberately done by the sun. Any object comes in front of the sun, comes under the range of sun, it's illumined. Sun doesn't require any illumination. It is self-shining. Atma is also self-shining. In fact, even the sun is because of this Atma. Sun is also an object. Atma is not an object. So Atma, it is self-shining and it is self-evident. How it is self-evident? All the time you say it is I am is there. The object knowledge takes place because of this, because of Atma, which is self-evident, because of which only everything becomes evident. Because of Atma only everything becomes evidence. Therefore, you don't require any evidence to establish the existence of this consciousness. Consciousness, it is you. So you don't require, do you need to establish yourself? You don't need to establish yourself. When I ask you to go and see whether anyone is there in the room, you go and see it and tell me nobody is there in the room. And how do you know nobody is there? How do you know nobody is there? You are there, in fact. You are there, therefore you know nobody is there. Nobody is the knowledge of nothing. For the knowledge of nothing, you have to be there. So even the knowledge of nothing, the shunya, that is possible because of you. So you are always there. The self, that is why you are self-evident. The consciousness, it is self-evident. It is self-evident and that illumines everything. So therefore, the I, the Atma, it is self-conscious. It doesn't borrow consciousness. It is self-conscious. The body borrows consciousness. That is why body dies. The body is conscious because of Atma and it stays for a particular period of time. Whereas I, the self-conscious Atma, it doesn't need to borrow. This doesn't need to borrow because its Swarupa itself is conscious. That way, self-consciousness. We don't say Atma as consciousness. It is not something which Atma possesses. When you say Atma has, then it becomes an adjective. That is why I said adjectives are that which a thing possesses. A person is tall. Tallness is an adjective. The person is brown in color. The brown is an adjective. The person is fair complexion, white hair. It's an adjective. All these are adjective. He has this body of this color, this complexion. He has blue eyes. All these are possessions, adjectives that describes a person. In fact, your very name, when you say I am so and so, that name is also your possession. It's an adjective. It is not you. Similarly, the Atma as consciousness, when we say, it is not a possession, it is not an adjective, it is self-conscious. The self-consciousness is Atma. We say in the tradition, this example we give, Raghoho Shiraha. Raghoho Shiraha is the head of the Ragu. Ragu has got only head. Raghoho, it doesn't have body, only head is there. That Graha only has got head. Raghoho Shashti Vibhakti, we say, Raghoho Shiraha, the head of the Ragu. Ragu itself is head. Then what is Raghoho Shiraha? It is Aupacharika Shashti. It is Aupacharika Shashti. It means it is not that Ragu has got head. The head is called Ragu. Similarly, here, Atma as consciousness means Atma is consciousness. It is self-consciousness, because of which everything becomes evident, or everything enjoys the consciousness, including your body, because of this Atma. Therefore, this self-consciousness, this self-shining Atma, it is Bhati. All the time it is Bhati. Bhati means shines. How does it shine? All the time. Agam, agam, iti. Agam iti sarvada bhati. Always shine. It does I. Does it require any proof that I is evident? Like an object is evident. Do you require this I? Do you require this Atma to be proved as it's evident? No, it is self-evident. It is self-evident. It is self-shining, self-revealing, self-conscious. That is Atma. Therefore, Atma is self-evident. In Dakshinamurti Stotram, Bhagavad Pada beautifully presents Yasyaiva Spuranam Sadatmakasat Kalparthakam Bhasate Sakshat Tattvamasi Veda Vachasa Yo Bodhayatyashritan Yat Sakshat Karanad Bhaven Punaravrittir Bhavambho Nidhau Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Namayidam Shri Dakshinamurtaye. Spuranam, the word is important. Spuranam means self-revealing, self-evident consciousness. It doesn't require anything to be revealed. Doesn't require any pramanam, any means for its revelation, for it to become evident. Doesn't require. So therefore, that is a swarupam. The self-revealing consciousness is a swarupam of Atma. That is like Chitta. So we say Atma, I, consciousness, all are same. Awareness, same. The word consciousness, as I said, it is used in many senses in the language. But here we use the sense that it is as the content of a conscious being. And that is self-evident, the Swarupam. So, objects becomes evident because of Atma. Every object in the world recognized as existent objects, they are available for your knowledge as existent because of Atma. So, the knowledge is because of Atma, even Ajnanam also because of Atma. You know that you know Sanskritam is because of Atma. You don't know Sanskritam, that Ajnanam also because of Atma. So, for Jnata Vishaya, Ajnata Vishaya. How do you know that you don't know Sanskritam? You cannot ask because you know it. It is because it is the Ajnanam is also known for Atma. The world, the you can classify everything in the world as two things: Jnatam, Ajnatam. Jnatam is that which is known. Ajnatam, that which are not known. What we know is little, and what we don't know is the whole world. Everything becomes the object of your knowledge, and you cannot become the object of your knowledge because you are self-evident. Being evident, therefore, it need not be reduced to become an object for for it to become evident. That which is a revealer of everything, sarvam prakashayati, and that it is self-revealing. Being self-revealing, swaprakashavatvat, sarvam bhasayati, sarvam bhasayati. Everything is revealed, prakashayati. So therefore, what really exists is this sat, and that is chit. They are not different. In achetana vastu, that which is recognized as sat, 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 in the chetana vastu, in me, it is chit. Therefore, sat is chit. Achetana vastu means inert beings, insentient beings. Insentient beings, because the mind is not there, sukshma shariram is not there, therefore, you don't see chit. You don't recognize the chit, the conscious. In a stone, stone is also stone. In stone also, this Brahma, the Sat is there, because Sukshma Shariram being not there. Therefore, it is not conscious. But it is, the stone is, the stone also is an assemblage. The content of the stone is Sat. The content of the Achetana is Sat. The content of me, the Chetana, is Chit. They are not different. They are same. So Sat eva Chit. That which is self-existent, that which is self-evident, self-existing, self-revealing is Atma, this consciousness. And it is Jnana Swarupaha. It is Jnana Swarupaha, means it is the form of, its Swarupa is knowledge. How do you say that? Knowledge. You see a flower. You open your eyes, you see a flower. The flower becomes evident to you. So, an object enjoys existence. An object exists only when it becomes evident to you as an object. The object, the flower, is lit up by Chaitanyam, and the knowledge takes place, and therefore the object becomes evident to you. The flower becomes evident to you. The mountain becomes evident to you. You see the mountain, the deer, the peacocks becomes evident to you. All the emotional, the feelings, they become evident to you. The anger is evident to you. The pain is evident to you. Sukham is evident to you. So everything becomes evident to you because they become your object of knowledge. And consciousness is evident to me. What does it mean? Consciousness, can it become evident to you? If you say evident to you, the consciousness becomes an object. It is not an object to become evident. It is ever evident. It is not an object to become an evident. When you see the flower is means that isness is there, the existence is there, and the knowledge of the flower takes place in your mind. Flower knowledge is in your mind. Flower knowledge takes place. The flower is, when you see the flower exists, and the flower knowledge. The flower consciousness is, therefore the flower is. Flower consciousness is, therefore the flower knowledge is. Flower is, therefore the flower consciousness is, therefore the flower knowledge. Now, the flower knowledge, the flower consciousness is. This flower consciousness can change. It can become a peacock consciousness. So when you see the peacock consciousness is. The object of consciousness change, but consciousness continues to be. It doesn't change. Consciousness is. Consciousness also is. They are not different. Is the existence. And consciousness continues. The object of consciousness may change. You see many objects. You see one object, that consciousness is, therefore the knowledge is. When that object goes away, when you see another object, that object consciousness is. When that object goes away, another object comes. That's what happened in the mind. So many thoughts come. That thought consciousness is, particular thought consciousness is. You think about a temple consciousness is. The temple goes away, you think about the beach consciousness is. But consciousness is continuous, object change. And this consciousness is that consciousness I, that is, it's Swarupa, that nature is consciousness, that is I, this Atma, it is always being there without not being able to be objectified. It is evident to me. It is evident to me. How it is evident to me? It is not evident to me as I know a flower. It is evident to me not as an object. It is evident to me as what? As the very subject, as myself. As myself. So, therefore, consciousness, it is not an object. It's not an object like a flower which is evident to me. It is myself. In every evidence, this consciousness is. And therefore, it is self-evident, self-existent, self-shining, we say. And we say consciousness is. The is isness. They are not separate. They are same. Therefore, this self-existence and self-shining, self-evident, both are same. Self-revealing. They are not the adjectives. They are not the properties of myself. I am that. I am, when you say I, the consciousness, am the existence. That is my Swarupa. So it is because I am self-existent. Therefore, I don't depend on anything for my existence. I am self-evident. I am the Atma, it is Satyam. I have got independent existence. Not I have. I am independently existing. Not I have. It's not again, not Shashti. It doesn't, I don't possess. So therefore, I, the Atma, not an object. What is available for objectification? That is object that cannot be you. So you have to dismiss. So you have to dismiss all the way, all these things. The body is not you. The mind is not you. This stula, sukshma, karana, shariram, all these are not you. The pancha, jnanendriya, karmendriya, they cannot be you. Everything is available as an object. Therefore, who are you without all these things? Who are you without all these things? You are not an object. You are not an object. You are not to be counted as one more object. You are objectless subject. Generally, we say subject with regard to an object, but you, the subject, without becoming, you cannot become an object. You become an object for me when I say you, that you is not the Atma, your body, mind, senses. As a flower is evident to me as an object. Similarly, when I see you, an individual, your body, mind, senses, the Namarupa is evident to me, not your Swarupa. The Swarupa of you is consciousness Swarupa of me is also that. How can I objectify you, your Swarupa? I means personally, I cannot objectify you. So, and there are not many consciousness. It is in the body, in the shariram, which is obtained as I, and the same I is there in all the bodies. Therefore, it is sarvavyapi, sarvagataha, it pervades the entire jagat, including chetana, achetana vastu. So, therefore, when we see, look upon that, we call it as Brahma, Ishvara, Bhagavan. And from the individually, we say, from the standpoint of this body mind sense complex, we call it as Atma. So, Brahma, Atma, they are same. Therefore, Atma is Sachidananda. What about Brahma? Brahma is Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma, the same. Therefore, only Mahavakya. Therefore, only we say, you are Brahma. This Jagat Karanam Brahma, the one who is the Karanam, the one who is the Karta of this Jagat, Brahma, that is you. When we say you, not as an individual, not as a limited being, the content of you, and the content of the Jagat is this Chaitanyam, which always exists, and it is self-existent, self-evident. Therefore, you, the Atma, is not an object. You cannot become an object for yourself. And all the scientists, they attempt to objectify this Atma, the consciousness, and they fail. Not knowing the mirror, the light which is reflected in the mirror, it can throw light only on the object. It cannot throw light on itself. Sun cannot throw light on itself. It can illumine the objects because it is self-shining. That they forget or fail to understand. So therefore, this consciousness, the Atma, in the presence of me, the Atma, everything becomes evident. So therefore, the word for self-existence or independent existence is Sat. Atma is Sat, and this Atma is consciousness, Chit. So therefore, Sat is Chit, Chit is Sat. They are not two, they are one and the same. That's why we call it as Lakshanam. Satchit Atma. Atma is self-existent, self-evident. And here we can note important thing. Instead of consciousness, we can use the word knowledge also. Instead of consciousness, because consciousness is, since the word is used in many senses, we say social awareness, social consciousness. The word consciousness, it is used in that sense. In many senses, it is used. So that word sometimes can mislead. So if you want to use another word, we can use what word? We can use the word knowledge. How? When you see a flower, the flower is an object of knowledge. When you see the mountain is an object of knowledge. So the object of knowledge changes. As we saw in the previous these examples, the object of knowledge come and then go. So one vritti comes, goes away, another vritti comes. So the object of knowledge changes from one object to another object, but the knowledge doesn't change. When I see the flower, when I see the lily, I know the lily. It's a flower. It's a knowledge. I know it is not an elephant. The lily is not an elephant. That is also a knowledge only. And if I take the lily to be a lotus, that is also a knowledge, but it is a wrong knowledge. But that possibility also is there if you don't know the lotus. So whatever may be the knowledge, whether it is the knowledge of an object or it is the ajnanam the ignorance of the knowledge of an object, or even if it is wrong knowledge, everything is knowledge only. Everything is knowledge only. Knowledge is common. So for this knowledge, we can use a word. Sambit. Sambit is another word for knowledge. Sambit means knowledge. So knowledge is another word for consciousness. So instead of using the word consciousness, we can use the word knowledge. But the problem here is, if you use the word knowledge, what happens? Knowledge generally, that also has got problem. Knowledge in general, we use the word in the sense the knowledge of an object. So when you when you take atma as knowledge, then the word knowledge can create confusion. Atma also as an object of knowledge, because flower knowledge, object knowledge, mountain knowledge, object knowledge, lily knowledge, object knowledge, atma knowledge, atma also becomes an object of knowledge. That tendency, that thinking, that confusion can come. To avoid that only, we use the word consciousness. Again, the problem with the consciousness, because it is used in many senses, therefore it may create, but we don't have choice. Either we have to use the word consciousness, or we have to use the word awareness. Awareness, social awareness is the word awareness, social awareness, or this corona awareness. All this awareness projects are there that also can create. But awareness in this context, we have to understand as purely as it is representing, pointing atma. So therefore we don't have choice, we have to use words. Therefore consciousness, the word is used. We can use the word knowledge also. The consciousness is knowledge only. It is nothing but knowledge. Consciousness is knowledge, and it is existence. So therefore, when I say that I know an object, there is object consciousness. The object consciousness may change, but consciousness continues. The object may change. Flower consciousness can become peacock consciousness. Consciousness can become mountain consciousness, but consciousness continues to be. It is common. That consciousness, that knowledge. And who is that consciousness? I. That is the consciousness. I am there in every knowledge. I continue to exist. Therefore, in every knowledge, I am. In fact, in the presence of me only, every knowledge takes place. That is what we have been saying from the beginning. In the presence of me only, everything becomes evident. Everything becomes evident. Everything available for your knowledge. Everything available for your objectification. In the presence of me, the very knowledge, jnanam. My swarupa is jnana swarupa, knowledge. My swarupa, my nature is this jnanam. In the presence of me only, every jnanam takes place. I is not a jnanam available as an object, because my swarupa, my nature is jnanam. Therefore, I, the consciousness, I, the knowledge, I, the self-existing, self-revealing, this consciousness is independent. I don't depend on anything for my existence. I exist independently, and I am evident all the time. Therefore, I, the Atma, is Satyam, it is Jnanam. And it is, there is only one Atma which alone pervades the entire Jagat. Therefore, I, the Atma, that is the truth. That is the truth of the being. With regard to the Jagat, we say Brahma. Brahma is the truth. They are not different. They are not different. And what about this Nama Rupa, everything? They are Mithya. They do not exist independently. They have borrowed existence. They exist because of me. That's why we say Mayeva Sakalam Jatam Mai sarvam pratishtitam. Mai sarvam layam yati. Tasmat agam eva brahma. Tasmat brahma advayam agam iti. So in me only, from me only everything is born. From me only everything is, everything in me only everything sustains. In me only everything finally resolves back. That me, when I say I, without any qualifier, without any qualifier, Satchit Ananda is also not a qualifier. Therefore, I. So this consciousness, we say, we compare to a light because it illumines, it makes the object evident, in the presence of which the knowledge takes place. Therefore, we compare to a light, because light, in the presence of light only, an object becomes evident. If Atma Jyoti is not there, if Atma Jyoti is not there, no object will become evident. And this Atma Jyoti doesn't require a Jyoti, because its Swarupa is Jyoti. My eyes shine, the object shines, the flower shines because the sun is there, therefore the flower shines. The sun shines because there is light in my eyes, therefore the sun is evident to me because I have eyes. The eyes shine, therefore the sun is evident. The eyes shine because the mind is there. Mind shines because the Atma Jyoti is there. Because of Atma Jyoti, the mind gets, the mind, the mind, the mind gets the ability, the mind gets the ability to shine. Shine means to illumine. To illumine is to know the knowledge, to know a thing in the form of a knowledge. Because the mind is, therefore the eyes function. Because the eyes are there, therefore only sun also becomes evident. Because sun is there, therefore only the objects are illumined. The shining is illumination. Use the word shine in the sense of illumination, the knowledge. Therefore, I, the Atma, I am the Jyotisham Jyotihi. I am the Jyoti, the ultimate Jyoti. That doesn't require another Jyoti. And in Shankaracharya beautifully presents an Ekashloki. Kim Jyotis Tava Bhanumana Hanime Ratro Pradipadikam Syadevam Rabidi Padarshana Vidau Kim Jyotirakya. It's a beautiful shloka, Ekashloki. In one shloka, he presents the content of the Jyoti Brahmana of the Bragadaranyaka Upanishad. What is the light for you? The Guru asked. The light means a light with that help you do transaction, you gain knowledge. During the light, what is the light? Sun is the light. What about in the Ratri? What is the light in the night? The light in the night, we use a lamp, a small lamp, or it could be a moon also. The moon and stars, these are the light. Then even the sunlight, then what is for seeing the sunlight, for seeing the moon, what is the light you have? That for light you must have to see it. Otherwise, how do you know the sun or the moon? What is the light you have? I have got eyes. Eyes are the light by which I see the sun. The sun becomes evident. The moon becomes evident because eye is there. Now, when the eyes are closed, like in swapna or in sleep, your eyes are closed. Then how do you see? When eyes are closed, then what is the light? When eyes are closed, you don't see it. But you see, because buddhi, you don't see an object, but the thoughts are there. The mind is there. The mind continues to be in sushupti, in swapna, the mind is there. The mind is a light. Even when eyes are closed, the light is not closed. The light continues. Where is the light? The light now, my mind is the light. The buddhi is the light. So, because the buddhi, the mind is there, therefore the eyes is because the eyes is, therefore the sun is, because the sun is, therefore the objects are illumined. So, buddhi is that. Now, what is that light? What is the light for by which you can see this buddhi also? You are aware of your buddhi. What is the light for seeing this buddhi, the antakarana? Because buddhi is also an object. See the buddhi means seeing the buddhi, knowing the buddhi as an object. Buddhi is an object. Mind is an object. Eyes is an object. Because you can see your eyes. In the mirror, you can see your eye. You can objectify your eyes. So what is that which makes even the buddhi an object? What is the light which makes that? I am the light. I illumine the buddhi. I am that illumines even the buddhi. So therefore, I am that Jyoti, Parama Jyoti, Jyotisham Jyotihi. Then Tadasmi Prabhu, I am the ultimate light, because of which everything is lit up. All the objects are illuminated. So that is why we say Jyotisham Jyotihi, Jyoti Swarupaha. Jyoti means light, light means knowledge. So therefore, Jnana Swarupaha is in the form of knowledge, embodiment of knowledge. So therefore, Chit means Jnana Swarupaha. I who am in the form of this knowledge, this consciousness, always existing, and my Swarupa is Anandaha. Happiness is my Swarupa. What does it mean, happiness? At no point of time I hate myself. I'm always the object of love. Every object becomes an object of love because I am the source of, I am the meaning of the word love. I am the source of love. I am the source of happiness. Minus me, no object really becomes dear to me. Like in Pradaraneka, it says, yeah, husband is loved not for the sake of the husband, it is for the sake of the Atma. A wife is loved not for the sake of the wife, it is because of this Atma. So, this Ananda Swarupa of Atma, about which we need to discuss, that we will do. We will do that in the next class. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.
धन्यवाद गुरुजी।
धन्यवाद गुरुजी।
धन्यवाद गुरुजी।
धन्यवाद जी।
धन्यवाद गुरुजी।
धन्यवाद।